community is composed of just about the most brilliant and economically and ideologically motivated human beings on the planet. Bet against them at your freaking peril. Because Bitcoin is not just an alternative currency. It's not just a store of value. It's not just a cool public ledger. Bitcoin is a passionate FU to the powers that be. Bitcoin, as I've argued publicly in speeches many years ago, Bitcoin is the potential end to war, to hyperinflation, to intergenerational debt. Bitcoin is a mission of mercy to the future. Bitcoin is the Jesus to the new converts of the religion of peace called crypto. Bitcoin is the people regaining control over their currency for the first time in the history of the world. Bitcoin is currency democratized, unpoliticized, unpredatored. Bitcoin is a currency that serves the people at the expense of the parasites, rather than the currency which serves the parasites at the expense of the people at the moment. Bitcoin is rescuing your precious labor from being hoovered up endlessly by the invisible vampire mosquitoes of central banking. Bitcoin is about as passionate a calling for the people involved in that community as anything you've ever seen in life, and by that I also include the people who cut their own balls off to try and hitch a ride on the Halley-Bopp comet, okay? These people are seriously brilliant, beautifully, derangedly committed to the future of peace and plenty that Bitcoin could represent, and will, I believe, when it reaches its full fruition, which it's a hell of a long way from doing. The people who were early on in the internet were like, wow, this is really cool. It's going to help free speech. It's going to do this, going to do that. That was wonderful. But free speech was already a concept. This expansion of the internet, yeah, it did help with free speech. That's why we're talking now. I think it's wonderful. But it was an extension of an existing principle. What we understand as currency now is slavery. The currency is summoned into existence at the expense of your children's futures. What you think of as a dollar sign is a slow, jugular-sucking noose twined and twisted around the necks of your children. They're sold for another fucking yacht, for another fucking asshole in the here and now. They're on the block internationally. Jeez, there's a new group against human trafficking being formed in the United States at the moment. Against human trafficking, fantastic. But the real human trafficking is the national debt, where your children are sold, usually across international lines, so that politicians can stuff their asses with money in the here and now and shower a little bit down on the people, so the people will overlook what intergalactic assholes the politicians are. That's the new slavery. That's the new human trafficking. It's the economic blood and future of your children. You need to understand the Bitcoin space. The passion that these incredibly brilliant people have brought to bear on the oldest human problem. How do you store value so that thieving, predatory, vampiric assholes can't get their jugular-sucking tentacles on it at all times? How do you store value so that you can actually come back to it? It's an old movie. It's not that old, I suppose. Into the Wild. And the guy kills some animal and stores it by a river, comes back a day or two later, and there are flies eating it. and he can't eat it. He couldn't store that. Didn't have a fridge. He couldn't store the value. Civilization is all about the storing of value. You don't have a pen and paper, you can't write down Shakespeare. That all gets lost. You don't have recording equipment, you can't get the beautiful singers and songs down. They're gone. There's an oral tradition, but it twists and turns in a game of schizophrenic epileptic telephone. The store of value is civilization. Why it was so horrible when the Library of Alexandria was burnt down. It was horrible when people lose their YouTube channels. The mighty pillar of philosophy, Free Domain Radio and YouTube, vanished. All the comments vanished. All of the associations vanished. All the arguments, all the debates, gone. And the leaders of YouTube will be cursed in the future for the great store and sum of human interactions that vanished in the most crucial time in modern history and one of the greatest times in the history of philosophy. They will be viewed as, rightly so, as barbarians who torched a library.